All right, buckle up because the internet has cooked up another relationship model that sounds absolutely batshit crazy. But everyone's talking about it. It's called the Don't Ask, Don't Tell Open Relationship, or DAT. If you're nasty, basically, you and your partner agree, you can both go out and get some strange, but the golden rule is you absolutely, positively do not talk about it, ever. Keep those extracurriculars zipped up tighter than Nina's vintage Chanel bag.
Wait, what? An open relationship where the core principle is secrecy? That sounds like a contradiction wrapped in an enigma, sprinkled with future therapy bills.
Let me clarify the mechanics, Ala. Kiki's mostly right, if a bit crude. In a DAT setup, the agreement is the secrecy. Both partners consent to non-monogamy, but explicitly agree not to share any details who, what, where. The idea supposedly is to avoid jealousy, awkward conversations, and emotional fallout. You get the freedom, allegedly, without the messy feelings.
But isn't that just institutionalized cheating? Giving yourselves permission to betray trust, but calling it an arrangement so you can sleep at night? It feels hollow, like building a house on quicksand.
See? Hollow. That's why it's blowing up. TikTok and Reddit are having a field day with this. Gen Z is basically treating it like some edgy life hack.
I can see why it would capture attention online. It taps into that desire for freedom, but also the fear of confrontation. It's inherently paradoxical, which always sparks debate.
Oh, it's prime viral content. The memes alone are gold. Think about it. My relationship is open, but like only when I'm not looking. Or heard you got a DAT thing going, so you single? It perfectly captures that modern blend of oversharing online while desperately avoiding real intimacy offline. Digi-clickable and requires zero emotional intelligence to joke about. Yeah, and that's the viral trifecta.
Exactly. And it throws a grenade right into the usual relationship advice crap. Everyone screams, communication is key, and DAT strolls in like, nah, fuck communication, ignorance is bliss, baby.
Ignorance might feel like bliss temporarily, but doesn't that just fester? Secrets have a way of poisoning things from the inside out. How can you build genuine intimacy if you're actively hiding parts of your life from each other?
That's the core of the debate, Ela. Supporters argue it is pragmatic. If both partners genuinely don't want to know, and knowing would only cause pain or conflict, why force it? It minimizes jealousy, simplifies things. Think of it like outsourcing emotional labor. You agree up front to handle your own shit, including any feelings about your partner's other activities. Efficient in a cold, calculating way.
Efficient? Nina? That sounds like you're optimizing a supply chain, not a relationship. Let's streamline our infidelity process for maximum output. What the fuck?
It feels like treating a relationship like a business contract where certain clauses are conveniently redacted. Where's the soul in that? Where's the connection?
Perhaps soul and connection are luxuries. Some people are willing to trade for convenience and avoiding drama. Not everyone wants to dive into the deep, murky waters of feelings. While some prefer the shallow end.
Yeah, the shallow end where you might bump into your partner's other partner and have to pretend you don't know who the hell they are. Awkward?
And that's where the critics chime in. Right? They argue that isn't just avoidant, it's actively harmful. It breeds distrust, kills intimacy, and papers over fundamental incompatibilities. It's a massive red flag masquerading as modern enlightenment.
Totally. It's cowardly. If you want an open relationship, fucking own it, have the balls to talk about it, set boundaries, deal with the messy feelings. This DAT thing is like wanting to swim without getting wet. It's bullshit.
The counter-argument, Kiki, is that not everyone has the same capacity or desire for that level of radical honesty. For some couples, maybe this is the only way they can conceive of non-monogamy without imploding. It's a compromise, however flawed.
A compromise built on silence, though? It feels like accepting crumbs when you deserve a whole loaf. You're essentially agreeing to a relationship where parts of your partner are permanently off limits to you.
Yeah, it's like, I love all of you, except for that part that's sleeping with Dave. From accounting, we don't talk about Dave.
And who's really jumping on this trend? Primarily the 1830 crowd online. They're experimenting, pushing boundaries, questioning everything their parents told them about relationships. It's part rebellion, part genuine confusion about how to navigate modern love. They joke about it, share horror stories, ask for advice on Reddit threads titled, "My DAT partner slipped up, now what?" It's chaotic, but it reflects a generation grappling with more options and fewer rules than ever before.
Older generations, or at least those who comment, often seem more skeptical. They tend to fall back on the importance of trust, transparency, the hard work of communication, maybe because they've seen where shortcuts like this can lead.
Or maybe they're just jealous. They didn't think of getting away with consequence-free banging back in their day.
Perhaps that is less about the relationship model itself and more a symptom of something larger, a reflection of our time's commitment, phobia, the desire for instant gratification, the difficulty of deep connection in a hyper-individualized world. Maybe people are turning to arrangements like this because genuine vulnerability feels too risky, too terrifying, so they opt for something that mimics freedom but lacks the substance of true openness.
Deep, Ayla. Or maybe it's just because explaining your hookups to your partner is fucking awkward and boring, and people are lazy. Honestly, sometimes I don't even want to tell myself what I did last night.
From a purely practical standpoint, the longevity of day seems questionable. Relationships built on avoiding difficult truths rarely stand the test of time. Eventually something gives, someone develops feelings, someone gets careless, the unspoken rules get broken. It requires an almost psychopathic level of compartmentalization from both partners to work long term. And let's be honest, most people aren't that disciplined, especially when emotions and sex are involved. It's inherently unstable.
Exactly. It feels like choosing willful blindness. You might avoid immediate pain, but you sacrifice the potential for deeper trust and understanding. You're essentially agreeing to never fully know the person you're with. And that's a high price to pay for avoiding uncomfortable conversations.
So, final verdict? Is that the relationship equivalent of quiet quitting? You're still there, but you've checked out of the hard parts? Or is it some next level enlightened path for people who just don't give a shit?
My take? It's a high risk, low reward strategy predominantly for the emotionally immature or the terminally avoidant. It might offer short-term convenience, but it's built on a foundation of sand. Sustainable? Highly unlikely. Smart? Absolutely not.
I think it highlights a yearning for freedom and autonomy, but ultimately mistakes secrecy for privacy and avoidance for peace. True connection thrives in the light, even when that light reveals uncomfortable truths. That chooses shadows, and relationships tend to wither there.
Me? I think it's fucking hilarious. People will do anything to get laid without dealing with the consequences. It's peak human bullshit, and honestly, kind of genius in its own cowardly way. Just don't come crying to me when it all blows up in your face because, spoiler alert, it absolutely will.